because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Finally got my hands on Dean Whyte. I know you always say that it's a stressful life doing what you do, and I think the last couple of hours have shown me that.
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg of that showing it that. But I mean, bloody hell, leading up to this show has been very testing and trying these last couple of days, you know. So yeah, and this is just part of it, man. But we love it. We love to hate it. We love it. So it's all good. Everything's to play for now. All the weighing, all the talking's been done. It's only the fight now. Tomorrow we're gonna have a good night. We've got a few guys that have taken off, but you know we're still looking forward. I feel we'll have a good show tomorrow, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't wait to get down to my first show anyway at the Tolworth Centre. Let's start with Prince Patel. He kind of carries that different aura when he walks around, doesn't he? He just told me that he sold around 200 odd tickets and he believes he's going to be a world champion by the end of the year. You're the man advising him now, so I'm going to kind of give you the stage here.
Yeah, no, he's got a fan base. Look, he talks the talk and he needs to walk the walk, innit? He's got a decent record. I know people will say that he's boxed in Tanzania and Africa and Ghana, but look, those are still stiffs. You only you got to beat what's in front of you, irrespective.
It takes a lot to put a man away.
Exactly. So you know, he's got a lot of knockouts, but you know, like you said, there's people that are pretty durable and normally can go the distance. So he's done pretty well with and he's won nearly every belt that's out there. You know, it's quite an achievement. Even on, you know, abate it being on the road, I think he's done quite good for himself, and he's someone who talks himself into a position. So there's a potential with that Isaac Lowe fight. I know they've been having a spat online, and you know, we've been talking to Channel 5. I think Isaac's signing with them potentially, but this is my pal, so we've been talking to them as well. So that'd be kind of a fight down the line if, you know, they can meet at catch weight, get that fight off the ground. That'd be great. But you know, this guy knows what he wants. He understands the game, you know, a lot more than some people understand, probably, to be honest. You know what I mean? He knows how to maneuver, yeah, he's up the rankings, so he understands what sanctioning bodies are there. So potentially, you know, he's right. You know, there's scope for that, and I think that's what we're looking at. He's got to get past Saturday. One of his favourite people, another Tanzanian, he's got to go on books. They're normally durable, normally do the rounds. So, but look, he has got a lot of knockouts. Hopefully, maybe he does get another one, and we're in for a thrilling, you know, few rounds as long as it lasts. I hope it does go a few rounds, because I'd like to see, you know, as people go down the stretch, they tire, and it shows you different parts of people's DNA makeup and mental capacity. So I'd like it to go a few rounds and see. But if he gets a knockout, that's great. But hopefully he's got to work and earn that knockout. Because, to be honest, to get this fight organised and sorted, I had to work really hard. So I want it to go a few rounds, and I hope we, the fans see, you know, Prince Patel on UK shores for a very long time, and the people that's turned up to support him, you know, can witness what he does in the flesh and see if he's all what he talks up and acts up to be, you know?
Yeah, I feel like there's always going to be something for him on these shores with the way he goes about. So we look forward to seeing him tomorrow and kind of what progresses from there. We've got to jump into the heavyweight stuff because there is so much to talk about. I don't know. Actually, yeah, we'll start, of course, with Saturday night. Big Juggernaut against Big Bang. Is it just going to be one of them fights where neither men are going to want to move and it's just going to be violence?
Do you know what? Both are big old lummoxes, but I mean, they're skillful in their lummoxness as well, and they're, you know, mobile in their capacity.
Does Joe perhaps sometimes not get credit for that, just because he can take a shot and
no, you know what? The chin is part of the makeup, but he actually is skillful and he understands what he's doing. You know, like sometimes, you know, people might say it's a bit cumbersome because he is a big, strong lad. Maybe it doesn't look as smooth, the transitions of some people, and as subtle. But listen, trust me, don't make no mistakes about that Juggernaut there. He's a wrecking machine. With that chin, it's a lot harder, and with that fitness, and he has got, you know, skill to go with that. He knows how to set the traps, and what he does well is he juggernauts and goes to the body a lot. I don't think people are underestimating what he's actually doing. That body work pays dividends later down the line. I think for me, Zhang fought, what's the Croatian kid's name? Filip Hrgović, I felt like Zhang won that fight personally. And that was a good fight. And that was a guy that people, was touting to be one of the next big things. And I think Zhang won. But his fitness is one of his weaknesses as far as I'm concerned. But yet again, he's a southpaw. Both simple silver medalists at the Olympics. So both of them got good IQ and understand boxing. Zhang's a lot older, even though I know Joyce is old as well. They're cracking on. But I think it's going to be an interesting fight. And while it lasts, it could go the distance. What is it, 12 or 10? I think it's a hard one to see Zhang getting to the bell, man. I've seen him in some of these fights, and he is gasping for breath in some of these fights. But look, I wish him well, and I hope it is a hard fight. And I wish, the fans are in for a great night and thrilled with what's going on. But, hopefully the Juggernaut does his thing. But I like these guys to go through the mill. And, sometimes some of these fights, like you expect them to be longer, and then they're quite short. And obviously it will tell us more about Joe Joyce if it is a hard, grueling fight that goes down the distance as well. I know Parker was, late stoppage, but I think he was just a little bit too small to compete with him. Zhang's a big old lummox as well, and both of them lummoxing together, someone will get banged.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good fight from the Copper Box on Saturday night. I was going to ask you, because I'm pretty sure us guys haven't spoke to you since. What did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance against Jermaine Franklin?
I think it was okay. I don't know, a lot of people criticising, saying about the killer instinct. But, once you're in there and you understand this guy's not going anywhere, I guess it's one of them ones. And people have questioned Joshua's tank before as well. So I guess he's thinking about seeing out the fight and not gassing out either. So that's what I kind of thought about. But he's done some really nice stuff. I like the body work. That body shot was good, rolling body shot. He did his jab was nice. Later on, he caught him with some good shots. But Jermaine Franklin is what he is on the tin, man. A tough guy, durable, can take a shot and give. His reaction time is very good. He's fast, he's mobile. And he showed that against Dillian Whyte. In that close fight, Dillian won. But, it's one of them, people that, I think they need to probably give a bit more respect to Franklin for his durability. But I thought it was a good fight, and I think it was the right fight to come back to. I did think maybe Joshua would get a stoppage because styles make fights, but Franklin proved us wrong again. And I don't know where he goes from here now, because he's stuck in a little bit of a rock and a hard place, because, he's very durable, and he's like, the risk to reward ratio is because people know what they're going to get. He's actually coming to win. It's good, got good hands, good feet, so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. But Joshua, I think he just needs to continue. I think he needs to be more active than anything else. Them talking about December, that doesn't cut it for me. I think he should be out again in another maybe couple of months, and then if he's out in September, maybe if he wants to do that, or end of July, and then be out at the end of the year. That's what I'd think. The more active is, I think, the better he'll be and more comfortable, because he's got a new trainer, a new coach, and they got a gel. So I think that 6 months, I think the more time they do in the ring together, understanding each other, is going to be good. I know in the gym time's paramount as well, but yeah, I think he needs to be active. He's not getting any younger either.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of noise around Joe Joyce and Anthony Joshua this week. I think we'll just put that to the back burner for a sec, because a lot of the talk was around Anthony and Dillian when it came to a fight in the summer. If we're hearing now December with Joshua and potentially this tournament, I know George Warren kind of scuppered everyone's dreams of that tournament they was on about. It leaves Dillian in a massive lurch, and we don't want to see Anthony wait so long. So there's so many different stipulations. I don't really know what to make of kind of the top 5-6 guys at the moment, but we do need to see some fights. We need to see them soon.
Do you know what? As you understand, this is a business first and foremost. A lot of these boys are at the tail end of their career. It's all good. Joe Joyce is fighting people and doing stuff, but no one's really going to give the Juggernaut an opportunity unnecessarily, because they understand it's a very, very hard night's work. And the risk to reward ratio is hard as well. So in the business sense, he doesn't bring great business. He's not a pay-per-view star. He doesn't, sell out arenas just yet. So all of those things, when you put them into the equation in the business ain't adding up. So that's why he's probably on the back burner and not really talked about. Like you've got Gerard Anderson as well. He's someone in America, 14-0, 14 knockouts, can box southpaw, can box orthodox, very skillful, doing his business. Those kind of guys, not pay-per-view stars yet, and not. If they want to fight, they should fight each other. Those kind of guys.
So from that sense, you can perhaps see why the likes of Jared Anderson and Joe Joyce would be so keen to fight these big guys.
Because no, they want to build their name. They want to get to this position. But you got to understand, when Dylan and Joshua was coming, no one gave them an opportunity there to create their own path and their opportunity. So it's about creating your legacy and making those opportunities. So now Joe Joyce, I think it's a shame because Dubois was fighting for a world title before him, and he absolutely fucking collapsed him. I don't even know what he done to me. He broke bones and all kind of stuff. But, you know, it's business yet again. That's how the tables were turned, and they managed to get him a world title before him. And that's good. But, I mean, you know, he does deserve a world title shot. I don't know who he gets it from. But, I mean, when he gets to that position at that table, now he's with the big boys, then it's a look at who he fights and who wants to fight him, because you want to make the biggest money. Right now, the Joe Joyce fight, in terms of money, I'm not sure if Frank Warren and them, you know, they've probably got a ceiling what they got to pay for him to fight. And it wouldn't pay for Dylan, and it wouldn't pay for Joshua. So I don't know, like when they're saying these fights are not materializing, yeah, financially they're not materializing, because it's like people would watch them, but I mean, the promoters need to have the budget to do these shows and put it together and put on an undercard as well with that budget. So yeah, the business, being a businessman, and I understand, but as a fan, you'd want to see certain fights, 100%. But I think, you know, Joe Joyce, he's not the dark horse anymore, he's the horse, the big old horse, and probably juggernaut in the horses. You know what I mean?
The 6'6" horse.
Yeah, trust me, he's the guy that you don't want to unnecessary fight. I'm telling you, if you're not fit and strong, it's not going to make sense. If you start fading down the stretch, that mother sucker is not fading. So you just, I don't know what you got to know what you got to do. But you know, good luck to him Saturday. I think it's a good fight, and I think there's brilliant fights for all these boys. But like why Dylan and Joshua took, because they're both pay-per-view stars in the business sense. It makes sense because the money both boys generate. I understand maybe they could have lost a bit of their star power in terms of, because they've both had a few losses lately, but they are fan friendly and the fans do like them. Look, Derek Chisora and bloody Tyson Fury fought 3 times. They fought in Wembley and they sold out. So come on, Dillian Whyte and Joshua equally are going to do what they're going to do. You know what I mean? So I mean,
does that fight have appeal in the Middle East?
Which fight?
Joshua and Dillian. Like, would that be a fight you think Middle Eastern investors would be interested in?
No, absolutely, they're interested. You know, I know I've got people that have spoken to me.
I think
have said they're interested in Dillian fighting someone and not even just Joshua. I think there's other people they've offered and they'd be interested to see him fight. But you know, I've brought that conversation to him. But obviously, him and his team are doing whatever they've got their people who they work with, so they're looking at their own option, which is not a problem. But I mean, yeah, the Middle East is thriving right now. And they got the butter, the bread, the donuts, everything to go with the milkshakes. You know what I mean? The shakes. But yeah, no, it's good, man. I mean, let's see what happens. Dillian's obviously looking for the best financial fight and the best fight he can give in terms of that. But make it only right. These guys are getting older. Even Tyson Fury, the same. He's the same. You know, he wants the bang for his buck. That's why that fight with Usyk never really materialized. It's all finances. But I make him right, because if you're going to fight in the UK, he sells out the arena. Him and his dance partner. Usyk has his play, but he's not. It's not him that's going to be selling it. So Fury should get a bigger percentage based on, especially gate revenue. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But then obviously if it was in Saudi, it's something totally different, because, you know, I don't know how it actually sells there. But I mean, yeah, again, it's down to business. But then Usyk's walked away now. What, he's going to fight Daniel Dubois potentially? It's an okay fight, but I hazard how that really ends up.
Considering we've perhaps seen only 4 fights out of a potential 12 fights that could be made in the heavyweight division over the last 3 or 4 years, did you ever believe it when you saw Simon Jordan come out and say about that heavyweight tournament?
You know,
I'd love to get excited, obviously, but did you ever sit there and think, you know what, that is a possibility? Despite the money Saudi and the Middle East can throw at things, did you ever think they were going to do Joshua and Wilder and Fury and Usyk in the space of a few days?
Yeah, I vaguely saw it online. I've been quite busy, obviously, doing a lot of stuff this week, as you could imagine, because of the show. But I wasn't sure, because how would you get all these guys, you know, the financial bag to secure such a thing?
They deserve their own kind of fights.
Yeah, again, when you look at Dubois, he's got a ceiling for where he is. I know he's the WBA regular champ, but, you know, it's the money. What he warrants is there's a ceiling for that money again. So it's kind of tricky saying, you know, unless it's mandated, maybe those guys ain't gonna fight. Maybe Joshua would fight him as well. Now, obviously, that he got mashed up by Joyce, and we know there's an Achilles heel that there's a way to beat him. Obviously, you can see it, but I don't know. I just feel it doesn't. It's not the greatest appeal, but people would watch it if it happened. But I mean, you know, do you give him a leg up? Maybe Joshua would think to go and fight him that doesn't have the star quality he does and the magnet to bring, you know, bums to seats. So I don't know.
Whatever happens, fingers crossed we get to see some heavyweight fights between now and the end of the year, because it is exactly what we're begging for.
Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz, I like that fight. That's an interesting fight. Like even him, for example, Andy Ruiz, he's someone that made a lot of money for the two Joshua fights. Now we don't see him fighting really because, you know, they're probably not giving him the numbers he wants. So what's going to happen? You're going to see these guys fighting less and less because they believe they're worth this, and if they're not getting close to that, they're not going to fight. And that's what happened to Adrian Broner.
In terms of like a one-fight sense, so like what Andy Ruiz got for the Anthony Joshua rematch, he isn't going to get again. And perhaps that's why that's the bitter pill to swallow when you're getting forwarded a contract that's giving you not even a quarter of the money.
But that's the thing. And then what happens is these people kind of get the sport in essence because of that. But then they got to be realistic. So then he has taken fights, but then he's probably looking at it like, well, maybe if I take 2 million or 1.5, I'm lowering my expectation of myself and what I believe I'm worth. You know what I mean? But then it depends who they're fighting. So a lot of it starts to become stalemate because no one's just going to pay you that to fight random Joe Blogs. You know what I mean? So as you get up the chart and the table, it does become harder and it becomes slower and it becomes more of a patient game.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,